Almeda, during the symposium, you and Professor Smith emphasized creativity, but you didn't really mean creativity as this week is arts and crafts time. You of course meant creativity as a spiritual practice. Help us frame creativity among young people as a spiritual practice, and then maybe give us some examples of exactly how you lifted up ways of invoking this in a youth ministry gathering.
Right. Creativity, or the idea that we invite young people into a spiritual practice of creation, of being co-creators with God, is extremely important, partly based on how we understand and what that means for us to actually be part of God's creation, but also for us to have a job to use all of the skills and gifts and talents that have been given to us to kind of beautify, to create new and innovative things in the world around us and in our communities. And one of the things that comes up, particularly with young people, is that we often will say, kids say the darndest things. But adolescents have a way of piecing things together, or of looking at textures or words or dramatic interpretations of things that adults sometimes forget, or sometimes it grows out of us or gets beaten out of us, or we don't feel like we have the opportunities and the channels to express them fully. And so one of the things about re-emphasizing creativity or creation and the acts of creating with young people as a part of youth ministry is one of those places where we're like, your Christianity, your spirituality is something that's not set in stone. It's something that you're invited to put your stamp on, invited to try on and to use in a different way, or in a new way, or even an innovative way. And of course, sometimes theologically that smacks of like, wait a minute, we're going to let them go and change things. No, we're going to let them go and interpret them for right now, for how they view. So God gives you, gives a young person the art to do spoken word or poetry or to dance. Who are we as a Christian community to say, God really didn't want you to use that in church. We just want you to do that in school, or we want you to do that for the poetry contest. But when you come to church, you can only do it the way that we've done it forever. Well, that young person, one, isn't going to come back to church very often. And two, the church or the Christian community is going to lose out on a way of experiencing God through their creativity, through their ability to invite us into a different modality. And this is one of the things that we emphasize. It's like, so how can we invite young people to share the things that God has already given them to push us to see God in new ways? And during the symposium, we experienced, because we had participants lead us in practices, participants lead us in some creative things. And so we experienced liturgical dance, where they would dance to what we would consider, I guess, a little bit of contemporary Christian music or gospel hip hop. And I was blown away in terms of the way that they were able to witness to God's ability to stand strong or to be consistent in their lives, and they embodied it. And then we also had another young person who came in and did some artwork or painted and was inviting us to visually experience God. And if we had said, your creativity, your gifts, this idea of creating here is not going to be welcome, we all would have had a cheapened experience of how God is manifest and moving in our lives. And so one of the things when we say, let's emphasize creativity, it's not let me give you a box of popsicle sticks and glue, but it's really a way of saying, how do I invite you to teach us about how God is moving? And how do I invite you, young person, to get out of some of the inherited and embedded traditions that is the best that we can offer you, because that's what we had, and now give something back, or begin to say, wait a minute, God still has something to say to me now, or something to do. And that's the joy of creation, or the joy of thinking about creation and creativity.